Hello, welcome to Kaiba Health and Life. I'm your host, Kristen Wolosinovich. By my side, the lovely, gorgeous, talented Lisa Metropolis. Welcome back. I had to do the show with some guest co-hosts last week.
Yes, thank you. It's always great to be by your side.
You were out of town.
I was. Yep, I was out
you.
of town last week, and I'm just really excited to be back, and especially to talk about this incredible, this topic. It's so important.
Yeah, we are tackling a very big topic that is very near and dear to our hearts because it's such an epidemic, and that's the opioid crisis. So without further ado, it's our honor and privilege to introduce Albert Ukai. Hello, Albert.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being
Albert.
here.
Thank you.
You are a clinical therapist, LMSW, with
Yes.
Hamilton Community Health Network, which Hamilton is an amazing organization.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you are here today because you're going to talk a bit about the MAT program. Tell us what that acronym stands for.
MAT stands for Medicated Assisted Treatment.
Medicated Assisted Treatment.
Yes.
And how does that happen? So I know when, we talk about this massive epidemic that doesn't discriminate across socioeconomic lines, race, religion, gender. And Hamilton Health is really tackling this program.
Head on. Yep.
This problem. So is it a walk-in? Tell us a little bit about the program itself and when it was launched.
The program was launched a little bit over a year ago, and it is it helps patients or people in the community that have an addiction to opioids or alcohol.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay. Both substances.
Both substances. So we have a program there, and it is a Suboxone clinic.
Okay.
So we use Suboxone as a medicated assisted treatment
Okay.
for opioids.
Okay.
And then we also use a drug called Vivitrol, and that is for opioids as well as alcohol.
So the
And that-
Vivitrol is for both.
The
Yeah.
Vivitrol is for
Okay.
both, and the Vivitrol is a long-acting injectable,
Okay.
28-day injection.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then the Suboxones are a strip that is dissolved underneath the tongue.
Okay.
And that drug is designed for patients to come in once a week to pick up their prescription.
Because, sorry, Lisa, real quick,
Yeah.
that's the massive fear, right? That's why we're seeing this epidemic is because the addiction happens so quickly.
Yeah.
It's automatic.
Right.
Yeah.
And the withdrawal is so painful, physically, mentally. It's all encompassing. So that's why it's so important to have the MAT programs.
It's important as well as it's used for opioids, as you know, is an epidemic in this country.
Yes.
And it's killing people.
Yeah. Daily. The numbers are staggering.
Right. And the risk of overdose as a result of the fentanyl
Yes.
in the drug or carfentanil.
So what is the carfentanil? What is that? I'm familiar with fentanyl, but I haven't. I'm not familiar with carfentanil.
Carfentanil is much more potent than
is.
The fentanyl, and so even a molecule of the carfentanil could put down an elephant.
So is the carfentanil a part of the? Is this also going into the opioids that
Yes.
people? Okay, so it's an inclusion of that. They're putting it in there.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's insane.
yeah.
And the insanity to me, Albert, and this is something you see on the daily at Hamilton,
Yes.
which kudos to Hamilton for tackling this.
Yeah.
Hamilton Community Health Network has been so instrumental for Genesee County. What you do is you save lives on the daily basis. So it's just insanity to me because when they get to you, they've probably clinically died on average 5 to 6 times.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
On average, every patient that comes in there does
Has died.
report that. Yeah.
Has had some of that
An
overdose and has had to do that.
And what we use there is our providers at Hamilton use what we call like the harm reduction model
Okay.
of treating a patient. So we treat the patient in a non-punitive type of approach rather than
elaborate a little
penalizing.
bit on that. Yes,
So
exactly.
when patients come into the clinic, we drug test them every time that they come in to
Okay.
see what types of substances that they have in their system.
Okay.
And so let's say they may test positive for another street drug.
Sure.
we don't use like the punitive type of
You don't
of
hold it
approach.
against them.
No, we work with them and where they are at as a person.
Well-
because that may be a whole other set of therapy
Well, our goal is to keep that person alive.
That's right.
Right.
You know,
And-
and it's considered a disease. It's like
right,
it's like
yeah.
having diabetes.
That's right.
So when you're treating a person with an addiction, you're treating them with a disease.
Yes.
And so we use this example with our patients. If you had diabetes, would we withhold your insulin?
And once
from
they
you?
can wrap their brain
Right.
around that,
Yeah.
the shame, I mean, they're already walking through your doors with massive shame, guilt, and fear,
Oh,
and they've lost everything.
Definitely. Yeah. All of them do come into the clinic with lots of shame,
They're
guilt.
holding a lot of emotional baggage.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. When someone approaches your place, they walk through that door. The very first thing that happens when they walk through that door.
So that is what I call the most critical moment in their treatment process,
Sure.
is because they're already beaten down by the system.
Yeah.
And their family.
Their families, they've burned every bridge. And so when they're coming to you,
Yeah.
you have to build that instant therapeutic connection immediately.
Right.
Instant.
And so we have a group, a wraparound team of people.
I love it.
And that includes a therapist, the doctor, nurses, the staff. We have recovery coaches that are assigned to every patient.
Right.
And our recovery coaches are people that have been in recovery for many years.
Yeah.
And they're mentors. And they've been in that same situation.
Right.
So they
themselves.
know.
So they can relate to that person.
They can empathize. And Lisa, doesn't it make you cry? Because to me, they've probably been told they're useless. They've been degraded. Their life has fallen apart. And they're probably now entering these four walls where they have that four-letter word of hope that they've never had.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
coming into it, sounds like you've provided this this program of love and support, something they're not used to.
No.
Well,
exactly.
you have what you do is you provide what you have stated as integrated care.
Yes.
So we treat the whole person.
Right.
Yes.
We treat their mental illness,
Mm-hmm.
which they may be self-medicating because they have an underlying condition
They're
that they don't even know about.
undiagnosed.
Right.
And so we treat that as well as their physical health.
Right.
And their substance abuse.
And your programs aren't, I dare say program because they're unlimited. It's not a limited step program. It's
No.
not a limited duration. It's
not.
unlimited time, the entire time. They can continue to come back for years.
They do.
And continue to receive treatment.
They do, and they also receive
Yeah.
one-on-one clinical therapy.
Okay.
We do extensive group therapy there for
Mm-hmm. Okay.
substance abuse as well as trauma, because we know that we are a trauma-focused center.
Yeah.
Every person that walks in that door has some type of trauma.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every person that
We-
I've seen so far.
We talk about that all the time. It's
do.
identifying the root cause. And, you could have had this perfect Pollyanna life and no one, that's just not the reality. There's always childhood trauma to identify with. And once you
Absolutely.
identify it, and get to the root cause of the illness, you guys are able to put a treatment plan together. And like we said, there's no time limit to healing. Someone could make massive progress within 30 days, but some may take 6 months to a year to 2 years.
Yes, and so I wanted to mention with the trauma-focused groups,
Yes.
they get very deep. We have people that come in there, and they bond with one another. They basically run the group themselves, but
Yes.
they go extensively into their traumas.
Yes.
And they relate to one another.
And I wanted to say, and we have talked about traumas several times recently on our show, and to talk about it, that word trauma to a lot of people is okay. It's trauma, but what exactly does that mean? So that's important because a lot of people will generalize
Yes.
that. So that word trauma it's so important because it's every single individual has.
They have it,
Has
but they
some.
have a different connotation.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. And with the trauma that we see there, it's
intense.
It's intense, but it's all kinds of trauma. It could be a severe loss. It could be some type of abuse,
Yes.
which could be mental, physical,
Right.
sexual abuse. Working with the Flint community,
Yeah.
we do network with other stakeholders in the community, and we work with one another. Like, for example, Hamilton does a lot of work with community mental health.
Yeah.
And
Love
with,
that.
With the domestic violence
Sure.
groups there.
At the
and
Y,
at
yes.
the YWCA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I love the collaboration because it truly takes a village
Yes.
It
to
does.
Yes.
help heal these people. So my question to you is insurance-wise, who comes and sees you? And when they walk through your doors, answer the insurance part first, because many are afraid.
Sure.
I don't have insurance. I
Yeah,
don't
a lot of
know.
people don't
so,
want to walk.
no,
walk
we
in.
never turn any patients away,
I love that.
regardless of insurance or no insurance. Predominantly, we do serve in the Flint community Medicaid,
Okay,
Medicare,
very good.
Sure.
private insurance.
Yes.
We have somebody there that is an insurance specialist.
Okay.
That can sign you up right there on the
I was
spot.
going to
Love
say
for
that.
insurance.
They'll help facilitate
Yeah.
you making sure you qualify what you need, anything like that.
And then
Yeah.
also men, women, doesn't matter.
Men,
correct?
women, children,
Got it.
young teenagers. Yeah, we see the whole.
Have you seen an influx? What's the demographic currently that you've seen an influx in?
Majority of the people we see there, I would say, were between their 20s and mid 30s.
So
Scary,
young,
isn't it?
young- So young,
Huge influx.
young
yeah.
people.
You know,
young
we
people.
say that right now. It's just so sad what our millennials are going through, and especially teenagers, and what they're susceptible to and what they're exposed to.
And we see all demographics. I mean, we see a lot of homeless people. We see people, I've seen professionals that were once nurses or doctors that, are coming for
That
treatment.
coming for treatment. Sure,
And
sure.
the path we're looking at is probably pain management. Got it from their primary care.
Started out with an injury in high school or, dental surgery.
Exactly. They go home, and we say it's chasing the dragon immediately,
Yeah.
right?
Right. And then they move from the
The pills.
prescribed drug to the street drug
To the street drug. Okay.
to other things,
In talking and moving from the prescription to the street drug, that at this point now, anyone in Michigan, anyone in the country can walk into a Rite Aid pharmacy and receive the Narcan kit. Correct?
Anyone can come and get an Narcan kit.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone. And you also, the Hamilton Health for patients provides.
We automatically provide
Provide.
every patient and their family members
And their
with
family
a
members.
Narcan prescription. They can go to the
Yeah.
pharmacy and pick up the Narcan kits.
And in conjunction with
Yeah.
the medicinal side of handling it, getting them, in treatment, like you said, with the Suboxone. And what was the other drug? The
Vivitrol.
Vivitrol. Then what I love too is now you're also able to provide diagnosis to the root cause and start treating the behavioral side and the therapeutic side
Yes,
from
we
a
do.
mental illness standpoint.
We do at Hamilton. We do have psychiatry. Mm-hmm. We can prescribe their psych medications there,
Yes.
as well as the clinical therapy and the group treatment.
Now, if there is when someone walks through your door and they need the withdrawal medication, there is oftentimes a need for some hospitalization or some other form of treatment outside of some 24-hour care, perhaps for a little bit of time.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we have patients that may be going through withdrawals. I'll give you an example from alcohol,
Yeah.
which you have to have. With that type of care, they have to be underneath a doctor's care.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
to-
Because
for
they go into
detox.
DTs. Yes.
Yeah.
And so you
Yeah.
work with
Yes.
the hospitals.
We work with hospitals and agencies.
agencies to be able to provide that care
Sure.
and facilitate, because they walk through your door and then they might need that care. Hamilton Health is going to
And we have
help
done that.
do that.
Yeah, so you
we,
get a-
we assess the patient.
Yeah.
Our
Mhm.
doctor there will assess the patient and see where they're at. With that type of withdrawal, it's only for alcohol or for benzodiazepines.
Got it.
Yeah.
Xanax. where they would have to have 24-hour care
Okay.
Got it.
to observe them, because they're at risk.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yep, yep.
So do you have in-house residential? How are they treated once they walk through your doors?
So in that scenario, we do have access to getting them into immediate treatment through the CMH. We have to
Yes.
get authorized. for
GHS,
that.
though,
Yeah,
right?
through
GHS, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Formerly CMH. And I know this because my mom and aunt both retired from CMH.
And I used to work there.
You did.
before I came
So
to Hamilton,
it's pretty
Yeah.
amazing. So, how can people get a hold of you? How can people find out about you? I know your referral sources. It sounds like you work with all the hospital systems. You collaborate with many organizations, which is
Throughout the community,
amazing.
yes.
And people can go to your website.
They can go to our website. They can call us directly.
And do you work with organizations around the state as well? Do you
We
have?
do.
Yeah.
I worked with Sacred Heart
Okay.
for long-term inpatient treatment, or
Great.
CPI in
Great.
Waterford.
Great.
Or,
Great. So there are those options.
There's a
for,
lot of
for-
options.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think what's so important for our viewers and listeners, like we said, we all have family members. We all have friends.
it doesn't discriminate.
No one is exempt from this. And I think, Albert, it's so important to let people know that Hamilton Community Health Network is there to provide you a future health, mind, body, soul,
Yes.
and wellness and hope. And I think it's so important that we continually communicate that, because we need to eradicate this, and it's possible.
Yes, we do. And there's a new opioid task force in the state of Michigan.
Okay.
I'm sure you've heard of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a nationwide epidemic.
It is.
And
It's
so, like you said, it doesn't discriminate against any community. It's in my family.
It's in mine.
experienced- Yeah, I've
It's in mine.
experienced it.
It's in mine, and was a white male raised in a very beautiful home, very loving home, married, 3 kids, and lost everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's regained his soul back, but he's also died. And he now is 100% clean, and he's a wonderful father. And you can see life in him, but
Yeah.
also with him, his story of struggle is someone else's story of help. And he's not afraid to tell it, and he's not embarrassed. And to show this vulnerability,
Yeah.
to me is very inspiring.
It's a testimony to show that there's hope. You can make it out
You
of. I mean, you have a sense of hope. Like if you hear stories of people that have survived this
That's right.
epidemic,
And one thing
it
too,
is a possibility.
and I will share this. His mom was a CMH therapist.
Yeah.
So this happens to all of
To
us.
everyone, yeah.
And know that. So if you're going through it, we're here for you. Albert's here. The team is here. There are so many resources for you to reach out to, and we will help you.
Absolutely.
So check out Hamilton Community Health Network. Check out their website. Absolutely amazing. Your marketing director,
She is incredible. I have worked with Stacy in the community on other initiatives in the past, and I'm so excited. Stacy Sawyer, for the duration of 2019 and going forward, is the marketing director for Hamilton Health, and she is incredible. She has
She is
such an
wonderful.
excellent background in
She's so
in
supportive
community.
of this
She's amazing.
program. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yes, she gets
absolutely.
it. And she's in the trenches with you.
Yeah,
Yes, she
yeah,
is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's very important.
And she's
We're
been
lucky to have her.
She's been very, very cognizant and vocal for her support in for the opioid crisis for the community, and doing what you do.
Thank
Absolutely.
you so much, and thank
Yeah.
you for this platform, for allowing us to come here and
It's-
talk about this problem.
Yeah.
It's our honor and privilege to have people such as Albert Ukai, to have Hamilton Community Health Network on, and to talk about the opioid crisis, because it's not going anywhere. We are losing people. We are losing people at a rate that is insanity. The fentanyl is not going anywhere, like you said. In fact, it's getting worse.
It's getting worse with
And
the carfentanil.
and the who would have thought we would be having these conversations to walk into Rite Aid to get our Narcan kit? We've got to stop it. And that's what we're here for. And that's what Albert's here for. And that's what your team's here for. So we thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And on that note, again, check out, if you're going through issues, please reach out to Hamilton Community Health Network. Thank you, Albert.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to my
Appreciate it.
co-host, Lisa Metropolis.
Thank
And a big special thank you to our viewers and listeners. This has been Kaiba Health and Life.